It ain't too bad the way you're using me, 'cause I'm sure I'm using you to do the things you do.
On this week's Spotlight Music Series, we'd like to welcome a classic jazz and R&B vocalist whose sound brings back the golden age of these genres. We want to welcome Charles Grant. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
So you have chosen two of some of my favorite eras in terms of music. I'm just curious. I'd like to know a little bit about how you found your voice and became a singer.
It's a good, interesting story. My oldest brother was a singer back in high school, and I remember he and his friends practicing. I always wanted to be a part of the group, but they always told me I was too young. So I missed that opportunity, but I always wanted to be a singer and follow, not necessarily in his footsteps, because he stopped singing after high school. I wanted to be a singer because I thought I was good at it and I enjoyed it. And then I fell in love listening to Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was one of my favorite artists. I wanted to walk, look, sound like Sam Cooke back in the day. And it really disappointed me back in the early 60s when he, when he got shot and was killed.
Of course.
It impacted me.
Yes. But you went on to sing other music, and I want to talk about some of your other influences, such as Bill Withers, Lou Rawls. I mean, there have been many influences on your career.
Yes.
Why them in particular?
I tried to pick guys that really had very good voices and sang songs that had messages with them. And it just happened to be those particular ones that I try to do now in my show. I try to pick some of the best R&B and jazz songs that I could come up with. And I have so many that I have in my collection that I try to do in my shows when I have them. It's just songs with messages.
And you've assembled some pretty fine musicians. Can you tell us who the other members of your band are?
Yes. I have Larry Ford that's playing keyboard. Larry and Jeff Holt. Jeffrey Holt is the bass player. Larry and Jeff has been playing together music here locally here for over 40 years. I also have Cameo, Gerald Williams. He's the drummer. Gerald has been with Larry and Jeff for like 30 years. And joining us in my next show is going to be John Phillips on sax. He's going to be joining me in my next show.
That sounds great. And you perform at Forte Jazz Lounge. You also have some other places where you perform. And are there any requests? Is there anything that your audience is always hoping that you're going to sing? Anything that really kind of still has a place in music lovers' heart to this day?
One song that people always like to hear is Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Stand By Me is almost one that's almost requested every time that I sing. And I try to make sure that that song's in. It's for the message, and it's a good song. It's a great song.
It certainly is. So how long have you been singing professionally?
I retired from Boeing in March 2019, and I told everyone that I worked with that I was going to be a singer. And of course, a lot of people laughed and said, hey, you're going to be a singer? How are you going to do that? And I said, I'm going to be a singer. So I started making connections, and I met the players several years ago, but never had the time really to devote to it until I retired. And once I retired, I started making connections. One of the first people that I met was Gracie and Lacey.
Yes. Oh, we love Gracie and Lacey.
and we met at a meeting, and we went over to Forte, and I met Joe Clark. And I told them at the time that I'm going to be singing on the stage. And here I am.
Good for you. Let me ask you, what did you do for Boeing?
I was a manufacturing manager.
Now, did you sing while you worked?
No, didn't have really have time.
Well, some whistle while they work, but I mean, with a voice as lovely as yours, you even have a very musical speaking voice. So for people to be able to hear you perform on stage is such a delight. And finally, I just want our audience to know when you're going to be performing on stage, and we'll give them a few dates here. April 17th, you're going to be singing the national anthem at the Stingrays. So folks, get your tickets. Go see a great hockey game. April 29th at the North Charleston Arts Festival. You're going to be there as well. June 26th, the Legacy Band at Forte Jazz Lounge, and you're going to be singing the songs of Stylist Delphonics. Love
Yes.
those, love that group. Temptations, Smokey, and the Miracles, and so on and so forth. So it's a great time. I advise everyone to get out and enjoy. I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm so glad to be here. This is a highlight for me.
Oh, the highlight is ours.
Yes.
Everyone, get out there, buy your tickets. We'll be back after this.